Grognard back here, and today, or this episode, we're going to read some emails. I actually got some emails now. You guys, anybody else can send me some at oldmangrognard@gmail.com, but I want to go through a couple I have here. One is from Tim Snyder. The Savage Afterworld is his blog. Great guy. He does some really nice things for Mutant Future and Crypt World. He says, "Hey Glenn, great show. I'm really enjoying your gaming retrospectives. You asked for input on what others use for a battle mat. My personal fave is the Noteboard you saw in action at North Texas RPG Con during the Thundar game. It's crazy portable, so it's perfect for throwing in your pocket to take to conventions. It's the size of a deck of cards, but it unfolds to 35 by 15. I can't praise these highly enough." He gave me a couple of links to it. Thanks, Tim. I forgot to mention that on the Battlemat show. I also have a noteboard rather, that I throw in my bag. It's like the backup plan if I don't have my Battlemat or I didn't bring my blue dungeon tiles. They're not exactly I mean, they are, but you know, it's easier to throw something in your backpack. So I've got that. Basically, it's a set of laminated, the equivalent of 3x5 cards with hexes and grid both imprinted on them in a way where you can use one or the other, which is really nice. And you can use a dry erase marker. I think you probably use a wet erase marker too, just like a battle mat. I wouldn't try the Sharpie thing. Yeah. But you find them at noteboard.com. And I will include the link with this video. And they're really nice and handy. The only thing I was disappointed about was the 35 by 15 because it's long enough, but it's only like maybe half of a regular battle mat. So I was a little disappointed. But in a pinch, it'll work. I mean, you know, if you guys want to just, you know, they come over to a table, you know, to the table, and they throw down and they say, "Okay, can you run something right now?" So you get your prep over, and you pull out the map, bada boom, there you are. So noteboard.com. Thank you, Tim. And our second email is from Louis Alfaro. Hi, Louis. And he had a question. He says, "Just posting an email to say thank you. Love the new show on YouTube. Lots of good advice and ideas for DMs. I've checked several items and they're amazing, especially tools like the Android Archivist Elements, which is an Android app, which is really nice. It's about $3. I've told you about this before. It's about $3. Great thing for prep. It's got all sorts of things in there to prep." And he goes on, and lots of others. Good advice from your podcast like Save or Die and Brainstorm. Thank you. Just finished your YouTube post 20 on Judges Guild. Hope to play some modules when I get players to those levels. Caverns of Theractica if we TPK somehow. Currently on Frog Hog Games, Lost City of Baraxis, Swords and Wizardry every week. Good for you. Now the question. Oh boy. "I would like to know your advice on how to run O5R, in other words, OSR 5e campaigns. And what is your impression on the 5e modules or conversions if you did play any? I'm currently on the starter box, Philandon, and love it. My players come from Swords and Wizardry, Pathfinder, and 3X and love the new system. We play as close to the OSR as possible. My idea is to migrate my big Barakas Swords and Wizardry campaign to 5e on January using the quick and dirty sheet here, which he gives his blog address. Should be good enough to have fun, and probably Frog God or Necromancer will have the Tome of Horrors converted soon, and that would be perfect. Best regards from Barcelona, Louis." Thank you, Louis. Well, I have not. I can't say I haven't done the modules. We did play through the starter box, the Mines of Philandon, and it was a pretty good adventure. We're going through the Tiamat stuff right now. As far as I'm concerned, it's not bad. Not bad little dungeon. That's about all I have experienced. I haven't read any of the modules or anything like that. And the only experience I get from 5th edition is playing it every other Saturday. I don't want to run it. There are some things I just don't like. But you can steal stuff from it, which is nice. There's 2 things I've already stolen. One is the cantrips. I like the way they do the cantrips, and I can fit it into my basic games or Labyrinth Lord or something like that. I really like the way they do and they're not just BS, zero level spells. You only get so many of them. You can fire off as many as you want. They're not as powerful as, say, a first level spell, but you can do enough of with the cantrips where, like, maybe once a game I'll haul out a regular spell. The rest of the time I'm doing stuff with cantrips. There's just especially stuff like for the wizard prestidigitation. It's a cantrip where you just do minor things like sounds or a short burst of flame or a small tiny illusion or something like that. Boy, is it versatile. There's a priest version of that called Thermology, and I've done more with that spell than any other spells I've done in Basic. And I can go through practically a whole session without even firing off a regular spell, which is nice. As a player, I like that. And it really and I think it really starts think even more creatively. The second thing I want to steal from there is the advantage disadvantage rule. Basically, instead of doing pluses and minuses, this one I'm going to have to try out first. But I like the idea of, instead of pluses and minuses to your roll or something, the DM will go, okay, you have disadvantage on this, or you have advantage on this. And basically it works out like this. The player rolls 2d20. If he has advantage, he takes the best of the two. If he has disadvantage, he takes the worst of the two. Easy peasy. So if he rolls an 18 and a 2 and he has disadvantage, guess which one he has to take? Yeah. So I like the way that works. I kind of don't want to give up my pluses and minuses, but I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try it out next time I run and see how it works. I just have to kind of do it on the fly, if you know what I mean. I can do a little prep on it. Who knows? I don't know. But those are the two things so far that I have found that I want to steal. Everything else I can jettison. Well, not really. 5e, you want to get it down to the OSR. The first thing my opinion, the first thing I get rid of is all that background crap. Where you have to sit down right there and define your character as far as background and stuff, to make it sense. I mean, they give you bennies and stuff, but to me, it's not worth it. And I'm the kind of guy, I know there's a lot of you out there, I need to know at least one person like this, where it takes you about 3 sessions to get a handle on your character. And some people say, well, this is faster. I don't want faster. If I got a good idea for a character, I'm going to run with it. If I don't, let me play it and we'll see what happens. Something usually comes up. And I don't need those bennies, there's stuff like plot, what do they call them? Character points, whatever. You get like 1 at a time, and you can use them for certain things, usually in combat. If that's for the DM to hand out for players who do something clever or make him laugh or really help the party and do the big kill or something like that, to be used at a later time. Well, that's all well and good. And there are some games that use something like that, like hero points or bennies. I like Savage World, and they got bennies. You get more than one, but I just don't. I don't know as a DM, but as a player, I'd rather just have the extra E. Instead of giving me a point to use later as a Betty, I would rather the GM say at the end of the day, okay, you get another 75 for doing that thing. And as a DM, I'd hand that out. I'd love to hand stuff like that out. But that's me. I get rid of that and just go back to that. See, I've got to admit, one of the nice things about 5e is you can take away, you can tack on. Which, I mean, you can do that with, like, D&D's been house ruled since it started, but here it's a little easier to modulate, if you know what I mean. It's modular, but without being modular. So you can take all that background crap away. You can take the bennies away, and it still plays the same. If you really want to go old school, go back to descending armor class, but I'm not going to force that on anybody because you guys know how I feel about it. And I know there's a lot of people who like ascending armor class for one reason or another. So it's like, you want to go real old school, do that, but no, you don't have to. Especially if you're doing swords and wizardry where you have one saving throw, which I like, by the way. I haven't figured out a way to steal it because, the 5 saving throws, I kind of like. To me, that's part of like the D&D feel, as with descending armor class and things like that. So that's my suggestions, Lewis. Thank you for writing. And if there's anybody else out there who wants to write me and ask me questions that I can answer on air here, write me at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. And that's it for this episode. Do the old mailbag episode. So, bye-bye.